Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and answer an incredibly frustrating question. Why does your forehand loop lack explosive power? Today, we're going to uncover the actual biomechanical secrets behind the ultimate table tennis forehand loop. And look, whether you're a total beginner just stepping up to the table, an enthusiastic amateur, a pro fine-tuning your game, or even a parent trying to help your kid master the sport, understanding the exact science behind this stroke, it is an absolute game changer.
So if you've ever been frustrated because your absolute maximum effort just results in this weak, floaty shot, you're not alone. We have literally all been there. You swing as hard as humanly possible, right? Only to watch the ball just sort of drop harmlessly over the net. Well, you're likely suffering from the illusion that power comes from your arm. Relying on your shoulder and bicep is a massive biomechanical trap. I mean, anatomically speaking, those arm muscles tire out so fast, and they have a super low ceiling for force generation compared to the big, dense muscle groups in the rest of your body.
To show you what's actually possible when you stop relying on your arm, check this out. A perfectly executed topspin forehand generates a massive racket acceleration of 180 meters per second squared at the exact moment of impact. 180! That is an unbelievable amount of force. To put that into perspective, that's roughly equivalent to the rapid, violent acceleration you'd experience during a severe car crash. It's crazy. So how do professional players generate that kind of explosive speed without, tearing their rotator cuffs?
Let's look at Section 1, the forehand power illusion, to find out. The biggest misconception in table tennis is that the forehand loop is an upper body technique. It's not. In reality, it is a highly coordinated full body movement. As you can see, there are 3 distinct phases of the stroke. We start in the neutral position, transition into the backward end, which is where maximum knee flexion happens, and finish at the forward end. So the foundation of your swing actually happens long before the racket ever even meets the ball. The biomechanics prove that your posture and how you load up during that middle, backward end phase dictate absolutely all the power in your final swing.
Which brings us to Section 2, Power Starts at Ground.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that your upper body is entirely reliant on your lower body's connection to the floor. Everything starts from the ground up. By comparing superior athletes with intermediate players, the data clearly shows that amateurs lose power by lifting their heels. They effectively unplug themselves from their power source. Superior players maintain a much larger plantar contact area, meaning they keep the soles of their feet completely flat and firmly planted against the floor, distributing their weight evenly. Intermediate players, though, they often do this early heel-off, and boom, they lose that stable push against the ground.
So to fix this energy leak, you need to follow these precise biomechanical steps. And importantly, you have to transfer your weight dynamically without jumping or sliding your feet. First up, keep a wide stance, about 1.5 to 2 shoulder widths apart, with your weight balanced on the balls of your feet. Next is hip rotation, which engages what's called the stretch shortening cycle. Think of it like coiling a really heavy metal spring. By twisting your hips, you store massive amounts of elastic energy. Finally, shift your weight smoothly and super fast from your right leg to your left, well, if you're right-hander, as you swing forward.
When analyzing the movement, superior players utilize a significantly higher angular changing rate in their hips and ankles. Simply put, this rate just measures how violently and quickly an athlete can snap their joints from that tightly coiled position right into the forward swing. This explosive firing of the hip and ankle joints is basically the high-revving engine for the entire stroke. It creates the initial burst of momentum that your body will eventually pass all the way up to the racket.
Let's move to Section 3, Connecting the Kinetic Chain.
Okay, so it's not enough to just push off the floor. You have to guide that force properly. And this is exactly where the kinetic chain comes in. It's a coordinated, proximal to distal movement sequence. Now, that's just a highly technical way of saying energy transfers sequentially from the heavy, large muscles in your lower body all the way up to the lighter parts of your upper body. Think of it like a wave. It starts with a heavy push from the ground, travels up through the legs, twists violently through the hips and trunk, and finally shoots out through the shoulder, forearm, and wrist.
But here's the catch. If there's a break in this chain, it completely destroys the stroke. If your core is loose, or, on the flip side, if your arm is rigidly tight during the backswing, you create a damping effect. This damping rapidly dissipates all that elastic energy traveling up from your legs. The research shows a relaxed core acts like a terrible shock absorber, literally swallowing the energy your legs just worked so hard to create. You absolutely need a rock-solid core to transmit the force, but a relaxed arm to let the speed seamlessly flow. Rigid arm equals lost power. Relaxed arm equals incredible speed.
And finally, Section 4, the ultimate whip effect. We have arrived at the climax of the stroke. This is where all this chained energy is finally unleashed.
As the biomechanics research notes, when the heavier trunk stops rotating, momentum transfers to the lighter forearm and hand, creating a massive whip effect. This is just pure physics in action. By rapidly, intentionally braking your trunk rotation, literally slamming the brakes on your torso mid-swing, that conserved momentum has absolutely nowhere to go but out through your arm. Stopping that larger body part is exactly what generates the supersonic whip-like snap for the smaller body part.
And when that whip effect connects perfectly at the peak of the ball's bounce, you generate some staggering numbers that will just completely overwhelm your opponent. You're hitting the ball with a racket moving at nearly 20 meters per second. Your acceleration peaks at that insane 180 meters per second squared we talked about. The friction causes the ball to rotate up to 140 times per second, literally 140 times a second. And the flight speed reaches a blistering 40 meters per second. That is not arm strength, my friends. That is the violent, beautiful efficiency of a perfect kinetic chain.
So, what does this all mean for you? Well, are you ready to stop swinging and start whipping? The next time you step up to the table, ask yourself, are you just burning out your arm, or are you finally ready to unleash the full power of your kinetic chain? Plant those feet firmly, engage your core, violently break that trunk, and let the whip fly. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I truly hope this deep dive into the biomechanics transforms how you play the game.